My name's Howe. I've been working in the fire department for 14 years now. I grew up for a lot of years. I suffered from severe depression and anxiety, and to mask those feelings, the first thing that was available to me was alcohol. I felt like I didn't have to worry about, what was going on at home, what was going on at school. That was my outlet, and it just progressed and progressed. And the more I drank, the bigger my anxiety ended up being at the end of that spree. So I just had to drink and use more and more and more, so it was a vicious cycle. When I started to work, I was quite a bit different, I felt, than my coworkers. And I felt like I was living two separate lives, my work persona and then my outside persona. It was a lot of substance abuse, a lot of lying, a lot of people pleasing, fear-based decisions that were not good for me or anyone around me. I was so desperate, I was so depressed, and the grief and the absolute feelings of worthlessness and all that stuff that comes along with those days and what I was doing to cope. And it became so bad that a couple of times I had attempted suicide. It was they were very desperate. Looking back at it today, I'd say they were cries for attention. I wanted somebody to say, how can I help? Like what's going on? What's so bad? What can I do for you? I kind of felt I was at a crossroads where it was either I can, choose to live or continue doing what I'm doing and die an alcoholic death. And I felt that was coming very soon for me. So I chose to live.
All right, go, long range.
As far as mental health goes, there wasn't much discussion about it. All my instructors and trainers were full-time firefighters, and most of them had come from a military background. And these men don't share their feelings with each other. It's bottled up and, suck it up and take it. You're meant to be a man's man. In that world, it's tough, It's still very old school and still very primitive that way, where it's you're indestructible and you're not affected by emotions or by feelings, and certainly not the case.
Good, elbows.
It's very difficult to be dealing with your mental health issue as well as possibly an addiction, and to know people are talking about it.
Step back, cross.
Doesn't make anything easier at all. It's a scary place to be, and you're digging deeper and deeper. It's a bigger hole you have to crawl out of, and you're just looking for one hand.
Good, relax, breathe.
I didn't know that I was dealing with depression and anxiety.
Good, breathe.
I didn't know that's why I was drinking. I wasn't educated enough about the subject to know that was my medication for my mental health issues.
Remember, love it here, accept it here, apply it here.
I've overcome my substance abuse and my alcohol consumption. I've been 6 years sober now, and I had to learn a lot about myself and who I was pretending to be, trying to go to work and try to save people and help people when I couldn't help myself. So, I no longer have to feel like a fraud. I no longer have to, put that mask on. My experience has definitely made me stronger. It's allowed me to see life through a different lens. That's where I felt almost a duty to be vocal about it, just to show people and to talk about the fact that there is an answer. There is help out there, and plenty of it. And, nobody has to suffer in silence. Not everybody is tough as nails, and in fact, most people are not at all. Creating an environment where we're comfortable enough to share that stuff around the dinner table, or, when we're doing housework or training, and, we can just talk about this stuff openly without fear of judgment. I do think the culture is changing. I think it's becoming a lot more talked about and a lot more common and a lot more accepted. It's okay to show emotions, and in fact, it's much more healthy to talk about it, get it out. Not once in drinking or using have I had the same feeling as I've had in recovery, the feeling of freedom and the feeling of togetherness with a group. It's an amazing feeling, and I just want it for everybody, really. So. There's people that will say you're never truly recovered because it's ever changing. You're always evolving. You're always learning something new about yourself, which is, exciting. To have this experience to draw on, it's given me the ability to be a resource to people at work as well. And as I progress into these supervisory roles, I'm hoping that I'll be looked at as an example. Chris used to be this guy, and today he's this guy, and it's something that can be done and it's achievable.